There are many experts in the foreign policy field who think that he that there's a huge difference between making business and making foreign policy, in a sense that Putin might, or Chinese, for example, might play it that way, that they will allow the U.S., the new administration, to win in a sense of money. Just give, for example, open markets for the U.S. companies, but they will win something else in the field of foreign policy. Do you think that Mr. Trump is smart enough to see the difference, that diplomacy is not always about money?
I do. And I also think even some of the people that he's been bringing into his cabinet, I mean, he has a mixture of people, clearly, as we've seen in the press. But I think a lot of that is sort of who he is. On one hand, he's having some very staunch, nationalist, protectionists, if you will, very strong on national security type
Mr.
people.
Bannon,
Very much.
General Flynn.
Yes, General Flynn. And then on the flip side, he also has Reince Priebus as his chief of staff, who was the former head of the Republican National Committee, but much more maybe, if you will, a moderate and someone who gets along well with Congress. And I think both of them sort of exemplify who Donald Trump is. Okay. I think at the end of the day, he'll make his own decision, but I also think that he is smart enough that he will listen to other people around him. And I think, we did see a very hasty Donald Trump with the Twitter feed and some of those things. I think you will see less tweets as president, and I think he will realize the gravity of the moment. I mean, to be the President of the United States is an incredibly lofty and difficult task. And I don't think Donald Trump is by any means naive or unaware of the gravity of this moment and the responsibility right now. And I say this as a journalist, too. Looking at what's happening in the world, this is a very dangerous time in the world, I have no doubt. And I think whoever is our president, whether it's a Republican or Democrat, I pray for them as an American, as a citizen of the world, because we're facing some very difficult times. We have to keep an eye on Putin. We have to watch what's happening with ISIS, certainly. There's some very difficult things to maneuver right now in the world, and some very difficult threats to America and to Poland in many places. Yeah. And so I think that he is smart enough that he will not want to go down in history as a bad president. He will not want to make a rash decision. He may be tempted at times to maybe be impulsive, as we've seen on the campaign trail. You and I both have seen that. All of us have seen that. But I think he will be smart enough to step back and say, wait a moment, and listen to people. And where he has voids, I think he's also receptive enough to hear the feedback and get the best decision. I also say that because the one thing that has absolutely been consistent with Donald Trump, from my experience with him and his family through the years, is I have no doubt about his patriotism and no doubt of his respect for the military.
Because we should mention that he's the first president that never served.
Yes, first president who never served, but yet has unbelievable, and it's not a for show when the cameras are on. It's something that he genuinely has. Whenever we've talked about the military, whenever we've talked about struggles of freedom, whether it's in Poland or elsewhere, there's a genuine interest. There's a genuine appreciation. I've seen him emotional about it. It's not just for show. It's when nobody's around. And so I truly believe that he will not make a decision lightly to send, whether it's U.S. troops, to ask for whether it's Polish troops to engage in something. We have such an incredible alliance between our two countries, as you know. So many times frontline in battle, I think of Iraq and Afghanistan. It's always, American troops, Polish troops, the Israeli troops. Usually those are the first three out there. And Poles are right there alongside every time with America. And I think he understands this incredible alliance for security for the world, too. And for that reason, I don't think he will make a hasty decision. I mean, I think sometimes we may see a remark if Rosie O'Donnell or something, there may be we may see a few glimmers of that as president, but I think even that he'll temper because he realizes all eyes of the world are on him right now. And I think he knows that this is an important moment. And I think he does really care about making sure that America is safe and making sure that the world is safe. I don't think he wants to go down as someone who made a hasty decision. And I think he will listen.